Hey, what's up everybody, Destroyer here, and I'm back with another cast of the Rise of the Witch King patch 2.02, version 4. And today we'll be looking at a 2v2 on Buckland with some pro players. So, let's see who we have here. We have Lazarus as Mordor in the bottom left. And his partner today is Megrim, the Goblin player in the bottom right. And the opponents are Brice, the Dwarf in the top right, and finally we have his partner, barney123, which is also Cam. He's known as Cam, otherwise. But I'll be calling him Barney for this cast, since his name is Barney here. And yeah, so we have men and Dwarves versus Mordor and Goblins. This should be an interesting matchup. Good receival, actually, now that I look at it. Two good teams versus two evil teams. I'm assuming everyone here went random, but you never know. Most people go random. So let's see here. Let's look at their starts. We have a couple of goblin tunnels there and a goblin cave. Immediately pumping out some goblin warriors from Megrim there. And Lazarus is going with a Haradrim Palace start. Interesting. And he has 3 slaughterhouses before that. So he'll probably be going Haradrim Lancers immediately. We got some Gondor soldiers being pumped out from Barney. And he does have 3 farms. And we have 3 mine shafts as well from the Dwarves, I'd imagine, right? Yep, there's one forward, a little bit forward, so he can get to the enemy quicker, I guess. Looks like Megrim is capturing the outpost there. He's going to want to hold that as long as possible, of course. Ooh, looks like Golem is here as well. He'll be mucking about, running around. And we have some soldiers about to do some damage economically, but looks like that slaughterhouse was cancelled. So Lazarus won't have to deal with that. Oops. Bumped my table there. Do we have any Lancers yet? Not quite. They're coming. And we got Rally Call being thrown down on the soldiers of Barney. Will he be able to take them out with these Lancers? I'm not sure if it's enough, as these are pretty resilient. As you see, the trample didn't actually do that much. They are in a defensive formation, but they are still in aggressive stance, so they're doing the damage. Now it looks like he switched them to hold ground, which boosts their armor. Goblins have some goblin archers there to help deal with the men. Switch headphones there. There we go, that's better. I am always tempted to call these Rudar Spearmen, even though they're not Rudar. What are they? Rohan Spearmen, of course. Rudar is Angmar. I get them mixed up. We have Gondor soldiers and Gondor archers, as well as some Rohan Spearmen from Barney. Looks like we have cave bats as the power from the goblins. Let's actually take a look at all the rest of the powers real quick, while the dwarves push in on the goblins there. Barney has Rally Call. Lazarus, the Mordor player, has the Eye of Sauron.
Who called for some guardians?
And Rally Call from Dwarves, and Cave Bats from Goblins, of course. We also have some Corsairs. Interesting. I don't usually see Corsairs too much, in patch 2.2 at least, but they're still very good. And there's actually a pretty fearsome force here by the Men of the West, Barney there, in Lazarus's base. He is not going to be able to deal with that with a couple of battalions of orcs, that's for sure. Although, it looks like his pikemen are a little bit out of place. And he will get a good run through on those men. Killing quite a few, I'd imagine. Although I'm sure he put his guys in defensive. Yep, so he took at least less damage than he would have. Seems the Corsairs are doing a bit of raiding. Actually took a farm there, which is a good pickup. Dwarves going for battle wagons and continuing to pump out troops there. Things are actually looking a bit dicey for Mordor, but it looks like he's starting to get a bit of a force built up. He also has some goblin archers from his partner over here. Looks like Dwarves have actually joined in the fray over here as well, as Brice is looking to help his partner in his attack. And these Lancers are proving pretty valuable, actually. They are being buffed in the next patch. They are pretty useful. I have used them before, since I was able to test the beta. They're a little bit stronger than they were, which is always nice, because they are pretty weak in this patch, but they're still very useful cavalry, honestly, because Mordor doesn't have any otherwise. And let's see, spider pit going down from Megrim over here. He's got 4 goblin caves, continuing to pump out goblins out of each one of them. So he'll be having a heavy goblin spam coming out. Ooh. Immediately canceling the slaughterhouse. Doesn't want to deal with that. Doesn't want to lose structures or power points to the men of the West. And he does have to be careful with these. If they run into pikes, they're pretty much dead. And it looks like there is a group of pikes in every one of these. Barney is doing quite well at keeping his pikemen together with his army so he doesn't get caught out of position. Looks like Raleigh Call has been thrown down on these men of the West over here. And they'll begin pillaging the goblin tunnels. Ooh, this goblin archer got a little close, but looks like he's not going to engage them actually, and just going to take some arrow damage instead. And trying to attack Megrim here. You have a battle wagon as well, which is doing very, very good damage against the goblins. Battle wagons are amazing against goblin warriors and goblin archers, as they really can't stop them very well. They can get caught in the middle of a giant horde of goblins and get stuck. That does happen quite often, but it's not something you have to worry about too much. As you see, they were picked off there by the Haradrim Lancers helping out. They can't be trampled by battle wagons, obviously. It's always a good thing to use. Cavalry is a good thing to counter battle wagons with if you can't catch them with pikemen. And it looks like Barney is pushing in again. Lazarus is being forced to play defensive quite heavily. Ooh, this slaughterhouse is very close. Doesn't look like anything's attacking it, which is fortunate for him. Let's take a look at the PowerPoints and everything. Barney has hobbits now. Also has a 650 command point limit. Actually 675 now. Lazarus has about half that. Not quite, but I mean 375, and he has only 1 power. He still has 7 power points though. We have a 600 command point limit from the Dwarves, who has Rally Call and nothing else quite yet. And Goblins have War Chant. What is this? That is the Men of the West Army. That is a Goblin Horde pillaging. Okay. Oh yeah, and we have 500 command point limit from the Goblins. A beacon was placed by Barney. Looks like he's showing one of his mine shafts is under attack, possibly. Oh, out comes the battle wagon. That's going to do some really good damage. Orc archers having no defense whatsoever, and will be completely crushed. He really needs to get some Easterlings or something out very quickly. There he is. That's what we need. So, the battle wagon will have to be a little bit more careful now that there's Easterlings on the field. I mean, spam continuing to pour out of the lands of the Goblins and Mordor, as they're attempting to outspam their opponents. Looks like Goblins are doing a pretty good job against the Dwarves here. I honestly feel Goblins are a pretty powerful team against the Dwarves, because their vast numbers and quickness kind of puts Dwarves at a disadvantage sometimes. But the battle wagons make up for it until Goblins can deal with that. Honestly, without battle wagons, you can't really deal with Goblin spam very well as the Dwarves, I feel. The battle wagons are pretty key. So we get the Thillian Rangers from the Men of the West, but they are a bit out of position and are being picked off by Goblin Warriors. It's going to be a costly loss if you lose that battalion. Looks like they managed to get away a little bit, at least enough to these pikemen get in the way. And they will push back a little bit. He does have a well, so we can heal him up if he retreats. Let's go back down here. Summon Hobbits was used. You can see that. There's Frodo right there with his glowing blue sword. He can use the Vial Galadriel. He hasn't used it yet. Perhaps he's forgot. Or maybe it came off cooldown and he didn't realize. But he could use that again to scare off this Men of the West army, if he wanted to. I mean the Mordor army. It's from the Men of the West. And a big attack from the goblins on the Men of the West. Some battle wagons being sent to help out with this goblin spam, easily cleaning these up. And the Men of the West will hold over here. Might even save this farm. Unless Megrim targets specifically. Looks like Mordor is also showing up. Ooh, good run through. Doesn't look like he has lost a good amount of his guys though, because there is pikemen in there. And these aren't very tanky. And now the dwarves are actually pushing in on Megrim. He does have Azog, or Azog. I think it's Azog. Ooh. But Megrim has summoned Wildman. Looks like Lazarus has Industry now. And Men of the West have Heal. I'm assuming the Men of the West must have a hero then. Was that Men of the West or was that Dwarves? No, it was Dwarves, okay. Dwarves must have a hero if they bought Heal, I would imagine. Right? I don't think the Dwarves have a hero. Kinda curious as to why he has Heal then. Unless there's a hero mixed up in here somewhere? I don't think so though. But it looks like the goblins will be able to hold off the dwarves here. Without too much trouble. Easily out spamming. Oh, Lazarus is throwing down a Mummakil pen. That should make things interesting indeed. As you're all aware, Mummakil is my favorite unit. So I love to see it in action anytime I can. And Mordor is holding pretty well. But he does have to be careful of these battle wagons. They're going to completely obliterate these archers if he's caught out of position. Ooh, in come the goblin hordes though. And just look how many goblins, like a good goblin player can field at one time and just keep them coming. If you keep your macro up enough, you can just out-spam the opponents with goblin warriors. It's insane. And look how much is going towards the dwarven base while he's defending his ally. Pretty nuts. And a Mummakil is on the way. Mummakil being plural for Mummakil. Or singular for Mummakil. Mummakil is the plural. And looks like the goblins are going to take a few lives here. They're going to take this farm. And Mordor and goblins will begin pushing forward a bit. It looks like Barney and Brice will be able to hold, I think. Although his Thillian Ranger's getting caught a little bit out of position there. Losing a few men there. Oh, a long shot being thrown down. Only taking out about one battalion. He does, Megrim scatters his army very well there. Manages to negate a lot of casualties. And Mummakil is almost ready. Excellent. We do have some Easterlings as well as some Orc Archers as well to support them. And the Mummakil will begin dominating the battlefield. Levels Azog. Azog is 4. Azog, I mean. Does Azog's power... I'm pretty sure this doesn't stack with Scavenger. Could be wrong, but if so, that'd be a little overpowered, I would think. And Mummakil, looks like it went in. I think it charged, actually. Doesn't look like it killed anything, though. So it looks like Barney manages to move out of the way, negating all the casualties that would have been from that trample. Which is good. Good play by him. And he'll be taking the slaughterhouse with his summoned Rohirrim, who still have a good amount of time remaining. Although Rohirrim, as you're well aware, are not very good at fighting Mummakil. Even just it walking over them actually kills them. It walking over anything really kills them. It can walk over heroes and kill them as well, without using the trample ability. Which is quite powerful. And it looks like another goblin army is going to push forward a little bit here. Actually gets a builder there. Good pickup. As you want to stop your opponents from building mine shafts and whatnot, so killing off their builders is always a good thing to do. As builders aren't cheap. 500 a pop is not cheap. Although I think he has banners, so it's actually 400 now. For him at least. And the Mummakil is still alive. Although, if you do want to counter a Mummakil, this is the way to do it. Thillian Rangers, or equivalent of your whatever faction you are. Rangers are the way to do it. Archers and pikemen. But I think archers are actually better against Mummakils than the pikemen are, at least, because they can actually melee attack the pikemen quite well and kill them quite effectively. It's not great for trampling pikemen, I gotta say, but it still works. Looks like Barney is trying to regroup here, get as many men as possible before pushing in on Lazarus. Try and take down his mighty Mummakil. There is a beacon over here, for whatever reason. Looks like a hobbit summon has been summoned by the dwarves here. Let's go back over here. Ah, the Mummakil is dead. Looks like he did pick it off with the archers, as I would have expected him to. Looks like a hobbit summon from the Men of the West as well. You should really use the Vial of Galadriel. Some players actually forget this exists, but it does cause enemy units to flee in terror. It's quite useful to use. Doesn't look like he's using it though. I think in this situation it might be a good idea to use it, as it would stop these orc archers from shooting his men. And 4 battle wagons coming in now with the Dwarven army. That's going to be brutal for the Goblins, as he will be losing a lot. Although Azog takes one of them with his power up there. His Great Battle Rage gets 100% damage and 40% armor. So he gets pretty powerful. He can take out battle wagons pretty nicely. That one's almost dead as well. These are level 5 though. So I think they'll start regenerating? Maybe? Not quite sure about that. Be good if these beacons were not on the map anymore. I don't know if those are just the players forgetting to delete them or what, as there's a lot going on. Maybe they have no time to delete beacons, which is understandable, or maybe that's just a replay thing, not sure. But both teams looking pretty yeah, every team is looking pretty strong so far, gotta say. We have a Faramir here, whose wounded arrow is semi-useful. It's not quite a slam shot of Prince Brand, but it's still pretty useful. Looks like he has 15 power points as well. I guess we'll be seeing what Barney has in store for his 15 powers. Possibly getting I think he's going to save up for Army of the Dead or Earthquake. Can't remember which one is on that side of the Rohirrim. We will find out soon enough. But he does have Rohirrim, 16 power points. And let's see, Goblins are about to attack here. We have a worm actually from Mordor. So that is his power. He also has Industry. I don't remember if I showed you that one. Brice has, obviously, Summon Hobbits. We saw that. He has 14 power points remaining. He almost has 15 power point. And Wildman of Dunland with 13 power points, and Scavenger as well. So Goblins doing quite well on the front of power points, as they always do. Seems like Goblins always are the first ones to get the power points, as they're just always in combat, always getting the powers. The team is just fundamentally better at getting power points, I feel. Maybe that's an unfair advantage. I'm not sure what constitutes that, but that is how it works. I think you just get it from being in combat, really. So, since you have millions of goblin hordes in the field doing damage, you're gaining power points, I guess, right? Sounds reasonable. I'm not sure if that's entirely true. But it looks like these resource structures in the middle will be taken out. And this Dwarven builder will be picked off for these orc archers as well. And now the bottom team has secured the middle a bit. Ooh, we have another Mummakil. Actually being caused to flee in terror by the wounded arrow. So it does work sometimes. A lot of times when I shoot people with this, it doesn't actually make them scared. And Worm being summoned down by Mordor. We also have a... Ooh, we have a Drogot the Dragon Lord being brought out by Megrim there. And he's going in for an attack. Let's go over here. Look, since there's 2 attacks going, I'd like to keep an eye on both. Seems the Worm will be leading the charge here, as well as the Mummakil is returning from its terror instilled state. And now they'll begin pushing in, and the bottom team gaining a bit of momentum here, and the top team is losing a bit of ground. Ooh, Lancer's getting a good run through on these Ithilien Rangers, and they're running for their lives against away from this Mummakil. Oh, it's using his charge. It does manage to get quite a few of them there. It is taking a decent amount of air damage, but not too much. It's just a weak little arrow from the fortress there. Not going to do much. It doesn't even have the fire upgrade. And I think Barney's in a lot of trouble here, honestly. If Lazarus keeps the pressure up, he will be victorious on that side, I think. And Dwarves are going to have a tough time dealing with Goblins as well. Goblins also summoning a worm now. That's going to be destructive. If Dwarves lose their production structures, they're pretty much dead. And I think this game is going to go to the bottom team. As at the looks of things right now. We saw the Mouth of Sauron, who's almost dead there. Getting a bit stuck. And a lot of men there. And yeah, Worm does a lot of damage to buildings, so Brice is going to lose his archery range. He has lost a level 3 farm, which is pretty crucial. He has actually 0 mine shafts at all, actually. And he's kind of clinging on for dear life here. He's going to lose his Hall Warriors, and probably this as well. Depends on how long the worm lasts. Probably not long enough to deal with that. But with Lazarus also making ground, it's only a matter of time before Megrim is able to help defeat Barney over here if he doesn't have to deal with the dwarves. But I'd imagine once Brice is dead from the goblins intact, then the other player will probably just quit out. It's usually what happens, but you never know. Some players like to give it a last stand, trying to hold out as long as possible. Ooh, the Fires of Doom power from Mordor there. Level 25 power. And thrown down on the Men of the West Fortress. Actually doesn't do a ton of damage, as you see there. It's great for taking out the outlying structures, but the fortress damage itself not so great. Looks like dwarves used barrage at some point. Didn't see it happen, but it looks like it affected much, did it? They're not really in a better position than they were. Ooh. And the Men of the West losing their archer range, which is going to be crucial for stopping the Mummakils. And he is going to probably lose this game here. Looks like both players actually about to lose at the same time. So, very timely attacks here. Timely victories, I'd say. Drogoth actually helping his partner over here. And we got 2 Mummakil going to take down. Oh. Actually, Barney already left the game. So Brice is in control of all this. Apparently. I missed that. But yeah. The top team has been defeated. Brice and Barney or Cam. And yeah, the bottom team is victorious. Mr. Megrim and Mr. Lazarus. So well played to those players. Everyone involved, really. It was a good game. Both team played very well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I will see you in the next cast of The Rise of the Witch King, patch 2.02. See you next time.